Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pharmacy Seeds Network live stream of the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Hello to everyone in chat. Blue Line, Bigfoot, Bomber, Geeky, Chris Jarvis, and whoever else has joined us. I'm going to start immediately because I'm running a little late. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. The Sunday night All Things Natural Net is an amateur radio net brought to the amateur radio community by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. This net is primarily focused on farming, gardening, conservation, ecology, and topics around the like. Without further ado, let's get started. This is KD2IIN looking for check-ins for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Please throw your call sign now if you wish to check in. Justin, what's up?
This is KD2 TQS.
The net recognizes KD2 TQS. Ken, how are you this evening?
Doing pretty darn good. Plans changed 2 or 3 times, but it's in the backyard watching the fireflies, and I'm on the net, so life is good.
Very good. Yeah, the fireflies have been wonderful this year, and always so peaceful and relaxing to see them. It's one of my favorite evening things to see. Well, let's see if there's anybody else checking in here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any additional check-ins, please call now.
Here's K2BHM.
Hey, Jem. Hey, YT. Alright, the net network recognizes K2BHM as well. How are you this evening, Jim?
I'm good. Just had a nice dinner, barbecued brisket burgers on the grill.
Very nice, very nice. Well, that sounds delicious, and I know that's what you were talking about having, so glad you got to enjoy those. I guess we'll roll back to the top of the list, although it's a short list at the moment. Ken, KD2, TQS, anything you'd like to talk about tonight?
Nothing in particular in my mind. I can talk about anything at any time, but if you want it concise, you better give me a heads up so I can plan that. So I will defer back from that in order to be friendly to the rest of the community.
All right, very good. I'm one of those people too. I can talk about anything as well, but that's opening a can of worms with me too. All right, we'll roll back down to Jim. What's going on, Jim?
Not much. Didn't get into details earlier because I didn't want to make your mom cry, but when we lost our freezer, we lost about 100 pounds of my cousin's beef, local homegrown organic beef, grass-fed, and also fed from the remains from Brown's Brewing in Troy. That was a crying shame.
Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that, and that is a lot of grass-fed beef to lose. That's a considerable cost. What happened? Were you guys away and you didn't notice it, or you just didn't notice the freezer went down?
It's a spare freezer out in the garage. We have the regular refrigerator freezer in the kitchen, and this one is out in the garage. It's a bulk storage, and it died, and we don't normally go out and check it daily. You go out and get something when you need it.
Yeah.
And we went out and opened up the door, and the stench knocked you over.
So it sounds like it had been down for quite some time. That sucks, man. That's frustrating. And I know it sounds like grounds for a Raspberry Pi project to me. Little sensor in the freezer to make sure it's running, and if it goes low, it sends you an email or something.
Yeah, something like that. Anyhow, And it sounds like from the way things are going, we weren't going to replace it, but from what we're hearing from other people, we might want to.
Yeah, I don't think this is a bad year to build up your food stock reserves, just given the unstable nature of things lately. So I think that's probably a good idea to replace it. And it'll give you something else to work on, because I know you need more projects. I'm just ribbing you. Alright, well, let's see if there's any further check-ins here. This is KD2IIN. Net control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any additional check-ins for the Sunday night net. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, they are sweet, aren't they? Amazing how fast they grow, isn't it?
KD2MQE, Dave, how you doing?
David, doing well. How are you doing this evening?
Good. I don't have a topic in mind. You remember a couple of weeks ago I got my first line level, and so I'm still working on that project. It's a couple of steps in the backyard, and just getting everything like lined up and figuring out how to do that has been like kind of fun, outdoorsy kind of work. But I've never done anything like that before, and it's been just fascinating. But not sure how much I'm able to discuss a construction project of like a total
Might be geeky.
So let me stop there and back to you.
All right, very good. And yeah, I always enjoy. That's one of the easier and funner parts of any construction project is the layout, and the line level is such a tremendously capable and powerful tool for such a small and cheap object. Amazing. I've done a lot of my projects have been, using the line level for figuring elevation drops and all sorts of stuff like that. It's a very useful tool. In fact, I used that when I set up the ram pump to figure out how much actual elevation drop there was from the spring to the place where I wanted to put the pump. So lots of handy uses. Glad you're learning. That's a very valuable tool and skill to have. All right, well, let's roll back to the top list here and see what Ken has to say. KD2 TQS, you're on.
TQS, second that motion on the Raspberry Pi. I have a Sub-Zero refrigerator which you think is closed and it's not. And all of a sudden that top shelf is quite hot. Right now I'm using a meat thermometer, sticking it in there and having it set for an approximate temperature. But I was considering getting a remote sensor of some type, and the Raspberry Pi was perfect. So I would be willing to field test that if you need somebody on that. So I'll pass it back to them.
All right, well, there you go, Jim. You already have a field tester option. And yeah, you probably could even do something as simple as an Arduino for that, and an alarm on it. But just occurred to me, because I know Jim has lots of Raspberry Pis for different purposes over there, that he could stick one on there. Actually, Jim, you could put one on there for monitoring the freezer for security and temperature at the same time. And you probably could overlay the temperature on the video, but you probably know more about that than I do with the camera side of things on Pi. Anyway, you're next on the list, so Jim, K2BHM, pick it up.
Well, I do have a Pi working here with 6 temperature sensors on it. One is in the living room. One is just outside the living room in the outside environment.
That's true. YT.
One is inside the boiler in the well for the thermocouple. And there's a couple spares sitting there just measuring the boiler room temperature. So I could run one of them out and extend it into the freezer. And it would be on my website. I could check it whenever I wanted from anywhere in the world. I haven't set up anything to do an alarm system like that, but when you're away or whatever, I generally check and see what things are looking like anyway. So, yeah, that'll work. That's a good idea. K2BHM.
There you go, there you go. And somebody here on the YouTube chat also suggested an ESP32, which is cheaper and probably work better and be more reliable. But if you already have the Pi's running, it makes sense to just extend that and run a sensor in there. And then, of course, for a later project, you could put a secondary generator, bring it back online, and redundant freezers, and okay, I'm getting carried away. Let's roll on down the list to KD2MQE, David.
KD2MQE, I'm wondering about the security aspect, like, you want to monitor that freezer to see, like, who's, if you have animals or your neighbor. I mean, you've spoken about your neighbors, Jim, so and they sound like they're okay, but you want that security camera on the freezer. And that's all I have at the moment, but I'm going to keep thinking about it. Back to CJ.
Yeah, I know a few people that have had stuff stolen out of their freezers before, and so they went to locking it, or they put a camera on it, or that kind of thing. I guess it depends on where your freezer is. If it's out in your garage and that's unlocked, and somebody nefarious is around you, you may end up losing stuff to it. So it never hurts to put a little security on it as well. But hopefully that's not the case where Jim is, and I would not expect that here where I am either. But let's see if there's any further check-ins here, and then we'll carry on through. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any additional check-ins, please call now. Alright, no additional check-ins recognized at this time. We're going to roll back to the top of the list to Ken, KD2TQS.
Nothing further on my end.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll stand corrected on that. My problem with the remote sensor, like I said, right now I'm just using a meat thermometer, another meat thermometer that I had there. Works fine. I just can't hear it if I'm upstairs working on the computer, especially if I have headphones on. So that's where the idea of the Pi sending me an email would be nifty, because that would bring in. But haven't looked into anything yet on that. But the idea sounds cool. So other than that, I'm just enjoying the Firefly. Back to that.
Yeah, that was part of why I thought that too. And then also, even if you only check your email once a day, those freezers hold that cold for quite some time, even when they get powered off. Like, you can have a freezer go off for 24 hours and not really lose a lot of cold if you're not opening it all the time. So if you've got an email, that'll give you, like at least a day to the freezer's down, something's going on. So that was just my quick thought. And I'm getting other suggestions here in the chat about different sensors, techniques, etc. But it's a whole discussion all in itself, I suppose. Anyway, let's roll back down to Jim, K2BHM.
Yeah, thanks, CJ, K2BHM. I don't really have a problem with neighbors per se. I've got
That's true, right?
four webcams up looking the neighborhood over, the driveway, and so forth and so on, and recording 1 frame a second, 24/7, 365, and that stuff is on my URL, and I can access it from anywhere in the world. So when we go away on vacation, I can call up and look at my front yard, my driveway, whatever, backyard, the lake, and also check the temperatures in the house, and also oil cam to look at how much oil is in the tank. So it's there. I just haven't gotten into doing PHP programming and Python or whatever to set a limit and generate an email. So I can just do it manually. I would generally check once a day anyway, and look at the cameras and pop them up so I can go and nose around while I'm doing other things, pop back and look at the cameras and so forth. So that works. I set it up basically because we were going away to St. Martin for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and I wanted to keep track of things here. So back to you, KGBHM.
Alright, this is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. And it sounds like that system's working well for you. And As far as the sensors and limits and email stuff, that code's already written. If you want, I could share some code with you to support that if you want to do something like that. And really pretty straightforward and easy to do. So might be something you think about. But I know you log in and check in, and whatever works for your system and way of doing things. I also had suggestions for push notifications for the phone, and I commented back to the person, I don't have a cell phone, so that wouldn't work for me. But each our own solution, I suppose. Let's roll on down to David, KD2MQE.
KD2MQE, thanks. It's just got me wondering about surveillance stuff generally. Like, I was thinking about setting up some cameras around the house, or, I just have the some stuff in the garage. Like, I'm kind of curious,
all things unnatural.
There and I'm just wondering, like, I know, CJ, you do a lot of instrumentation for soil conditions and different kinds of environmental stuff. And Jim's got what he was talking about, cameras and temperature sensors and stuff. And I'm just wondering how much time, how much of your attention does it take? Like, some people get all like obsessed with Twitter and they have to check it every 5 minutes. But how about your surveillance stuff, and how often do you check the reports, and how often does it push things to you? And I'm just curious, like, what's the right way to tune that? Because I could see setting up a bunch of cameras and sensors and stuff, and I just get like obsessed and check it all the time. And now I have 0, and I check it 0 of the time, and that seems to be working pretty good too. So I don't know what the right middle ground is. And that's it from me. Back to you.
Oh, I love your comment, David. I love your comment. That's so true. It can become this like little dopamine hit every time you check your cameras to see how things are. I did some camera security installs for several different businesses in the area a few years back, and yeah, it does kind of become an obsession. You're always checking, and then even if you have the camera set up with certain motion areas masked, and you do everything you can to eliminate erroneous data, you still have an overwhelming amount of data to go through. So yeah, it really does come back down to a data management thing. For me, for my greenhouse stuff, I don't have any surveillance equipment here. I do have one camera in the greenhouse, but I don't really log that data very much. My main logging is about sensors, and that data that all spools to a database, and then that database is accessible from anywhere, anywhere in the world. Eventually, I'm going to write the PHP HTML code to put that on a web page and make it just totally on a web page. But for now, I can log in through a program I use called SQL Dashboards, and so I always have that stuff up on my second monitor, those charts, and I'm always kind of monitoring the greenhouse. And I do find it a little weird when I don't have that chart set up for the first couple of weeks of summer. I start to let off on that because I don't need to monitor so much. But I quickly get used to not looking at it, and then I find myself not paying attention to it, and then there are times when it goes down and I'm like, oh right, I should have that chart up so at least I know when it goes down. But I'm getting very long-winded. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. And we're going to come back up to you, Jim, to answer David's question in a moment. I just want to see if there's any further check-ins first. So if there's any further check-ins, please throw your call sign now. Alrighty, no further check-ins. So Jim, we're going to let you respond to David's question, and then we'll roll back to Ken.
Yeah, okay, thanks, CJ. Well, I'm a unique case. Back 1979, I had my motorcycle stolen from in front of my house up in Latham. It was a 1958 Harley 1200 full dress that I fully restored, and it still stings to this day. So, and the location we're at now, when we moved here 20 years ago, it was a sleepy bedroom neighborhood. You could do anything you wanted, and very quiet, peaceful, and all that. And within the last 10 years or so, we've had infiltrations, and we've been advised by the police that we have 3 crack houses on the street here, even though it's a dead-end street. And you do see cars going up and down the street at 50, 60 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, and garbage thrown all over the place and stuff like that. And when you talk to the police about it, we find out that they have rights. We don't. So I've got cameras, and they are recording 1 frame a second, 24/7, 365. And PIR sensors on the lights and so forth, so if somebody comes around at night, triggers the lights, the camera will sense it. And I just let them go 24/7. And with Ubuntu, you can set up windows, make one window just your surveillance cameras, and when you're off on another window doing emails or another window surfing the web or whatever, you click back to that one window every so often and check the cameras. And you can do it anywhere in the world. So that's where I'm coming from, K2BHM.
Well, that all makes lots of logical sense, and I'll put it back to David for his response. This is KD2. I am Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Back to KD2 MQE.
KD2 MQE, nothing further. No, thanks, Jim.
Wow, Kiki, he got big, huh? All right, nothing further. So we're going to roll up to the top of the list. KD2 TQS. Ken.
Sitting here, collating my thoughts, again, aiming to be concise. I hear all that, I agree with all that, yet personally I have an increasing aversion to more and more of that. Work with tech a lot in my clinical days especially, and anymore it's just like, I want to leave that behind and just put me backwoods and I'll be happy. But like I say, I agree and understand with it, but contract somebody else to do it for me. That's the better way right now, so that's all I have to put back to them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I gladly left that industry behind myself. It draws out a lot of really weird behaviors out of people. That spying thing seems to make people, not spying, but that constant surveillance thing seems to make people want to constantly surveil more and feel like they always have to know everything. And that's not a good mentality to get into. So I'm of the same mentality. I'm here on the farm. If there's a problem, I'll handle it, and I don't need a camera for that. Anyway, let's roll back down to K2BHM.
Yeah, I agree with you guys, K2BHM, and I used to think that way until some of the neighbors' houses got robbed. And that was a wake-up call. So I have several cameras around, and the little red lights are blinking on them, and you can see them, and you know that you might be able to kill one of them, but you got to kill them all at the same time, and they probably don't have that much intelligence. But basically, I set up my first camera. It was a web special. It was like a $39 camera. And I started checking the logs on my router and found out that ET was phoning home. Why does my webcam continuously access Amazon Web Services? So I did away with that, and I came up with my own homebrew, the Raspberry Pis, and they don't access anybody except my local hard drives. And they talk to me when I talk to them. So I did it for that particular reason. I don't want anybody spying on me. I just want to see what's going on in my neck of the woods, so if somebody does something, I got a record.
Yep, I get it. And also an opportunity to have some additional evidence to try and hunt down who it is and get your stuff back if that's the case. I totally get it. I'm just glad to be removed from it. And, your point is valid too. You don't need it until after somebody's taken something, and then you wish you had video footage, a picture, anything to give you a lead on who, when, where, why, how, etc. So I understand that mentality as well. All right, let's roll on down to David, KD2 MQE.
KD2 MQE. So just a quick note. This reminds me. There's a whole surveillance economy theory that's going on based on all of the platforms that people use, like Facebook. I mean, Google, their money on surveillance. Some people argue, but what I was really wanted to get back to was just the setting up cameras and stuff. Like,
good call, Justin.
Maybe there's some things we can do about. I mean, there are proactive things that they can trigger, and I'm thinking about deer in the backyard, like eating everything, and if we had, some motion sensor stuff that could, had software
glad to
behind
hear
it
it,
that would
YT.
take action,
Thank you for the feedback.
that might be useful for animal control, and I don't know how widespread you can do that on a place the size of yours, CJ, for, I don't know what kind of animals issues you might even have. Maybe you've got good fences, but for those of us who don't, it might be an interesting, twist to this story. And I think that's all I was thinking about. Like, what can we do, like, to make this surveillance actionable on its own, so we don't have to constantly watch it? Back to you.
All right, very good. And those are good thoughts as well. I don't have good fences at the moment. I have some fence work to do, making some line adjustments, and I have some rebuild still to do from a big spring storm we had a couple years back. And but I am out there a good part of the night working myself, so that tends to keep the deer away. The woodchucks are my big problem, and I am in the process of trapping some of them out. But it's a long process. There's a lot of woodchucks, so there's that. It would be nice to have something actionable like that. I've thought of that sort of stuff in the past, but I think I'm going to refrain from getting into some of those ideas over radio, because I'm not sure of the legality of some of the ideas, and I ended up not implementing them because I'm just too busy farming and streaming and the other 8 million things I do. Anyway, let's just take one last opportunity here and see if there's any further check-ins. This is KD2IIN, Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any further check-ins, please call now. The net recognizes K2GOG. Steve, are there any further check-ins? Alright, no further check-ins recognized, so we're going to roll on down to Steve, K2GOG. How are you this evening?
Hi, doing well, TJ. I'm sorry about earlier. I heard it come back around to me during the 6:30 net, but I had a distraction. I was unable to respond, but everything's going well. I've been listening for the last few minutes. Focus kind of took a steer towards the conspiracy theory net, but you guys brought it right back on track. I did have a query/question for the net relating to the quote-unquote all things natural topic, but I could hold it if you'd rather that, and let it go around the circle, but it has to do with turtles. Is my question.
Interesting. Actually, there's been quite a bit of turtle talk in the live stream chat here. But why don't you go ahead with your question, since this is the All Things Natural Net, and certainly security cameras are not necessarily in the All Things Natural realm, although it's something we also do. Go ahead with your question, Steve.
Alright, well actually before I throw the turtle question out, for those on here, which I think everyone was at field day and saw the satellite trebuchet, when I got it home and I was moving stuff around in the garage at some point during the week, I decided to put just the base of it on my backyard, not with the antenna, just the bottom part, and I go out there, and I think it was five deer. One of them started to become a little emotionally attached to the base. I think it thought it was a deer, and I had to shoo it away and then move it so it didn't make that same mistake twice. But yeah, I have lots of deer over here, not to rhyme. But let me throw that back for comment before I share the turtle question, because that just the deer part and maybe things in cameras it kind of goes in mind. But yeah, if you do want a way to attract deer, a 4x4 with a piece of brass on top, it'll usually bring them in. So back to you quick before I ask the turtle question.
That's very interesting. I I've never seen that, but that's an interesting thing. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I bet I bet you got some chuckles out of that. But why don't you go ahead with your question?
Alright, so here's the question. So on my property I have red eared sliders in abundance, as well as at least one ginormous snapping turtle. So I'm sure there's probably at least another one or two hanging around somewhere that just don't venture too far. But in early June they seem to kind of make the migration up and lay their eggs. What I thought was interesting, midweek when I walked across the front lawn to go get the mail, there was a red ear slider in the middle of my front lawn. I have no idea how it decided to get in that direction, just not anywhere close to where the pond is. It was trying to get across the street or whatever, I don't know, but it was in a really weird spot. And my question is, if you see a turtle in a weird spot and it's not like in danger, if it was on the roadside, I think I'd probably answer my own question, but in your opinion, if in this time of the year, when a turtle like that is in a weird spot, do you think that it would be appropriate to try to move it, or just let it kind of do its own thing? Because he was out there in the middle of the lawn, baking in the sun. He was alive and kicking all the time, but if I moved it, would that have jeopardized its ability to survive? And ultimately, I went back and looked for it. I didn't see it, so I'm sure it got to where its home was. But what are your thoughts? If I see turtles in weird spots that are not in danger, should I move them or should I just leave them be?
Well, my perspective on it would be that turtles, like humans, I guess the question is, how would you like to be abducted by an alien and relocated when you're trying to go somewhere? I think I would leave them. They're actually amazingly mobile. We think of turtles as these slow animals, but they actually travel some pretty impressive distances. And the old farm that I was on, I actually had turtles come up into the garden. There were times I saw turtles even, several hundred yards from the stream, and they'd be in there, like laying eggs, that kind of thing. I would leave them unless they're in the way, or you're afraid they're going to get run over or mowed over, that kind of thing. We actually have boxers here as well, the boxing turtles, which are much less water-oriented, and I see them from time to time out here, and they're interesting. And I actually hit one on the mower a couple of years ago. I felt really bad about hitting him, but I just didn't see him, and I was mowing a mulch strip. But I would say leave him be where he's at, and unless you have a reason to move him that you're concerned for his safety, or he's in your way and you're trying to do something. But that would be my 2 cents. And I don't know. I guess we could throw that question out to the other participants and see what their thoughts are. Cha-cha! What's up, cha-cha? I'm sorry, and back to you, K2GOG from K2I.
Alright, CJ, thanks. Yeah, you confirmed my suspicion. It's just, I thought it might have been worth sharing with the group. I think I did the right thing, just leaving it, but yeah, I've seen them too. They go pretty quick. One of the sliders, first week of June, I think was doing its egg-laying run, and then I later saw it on the backyard and pointed it out to my wife and said, "Hey, there's the turtle." And boy, I'll tell you, that guy was moving pretty quick. He'd stop every 10 feet, and he'd catch his breath, but yeah, they seem to move pretty quick. So I don't know where this guy was going to, but I guess he probably knew the right way to get to wherever he was going. I was just worried that he was going to get, like what you said, accidentally hit with a mower. We have a lawn guy who comes, and so just kind of worried if it was going to, move out of the way, because my landscaper mower guy, he does his zero radius mowing at like NASCAR speed. So I usually try to walk out there when I know he's on his way, just to see if there's like anything where he's going to zip over and, I don't know, having turtle guts spewed all over the side of the house. I just wasn't looking forward to, but the turtle got to wherever it needed to go. So anyway, back to you.
Very good. Yeah, they can cruise right along, and I just let them be. They seem to find their way about where they're going. You know, I have seen them out in the road and run over by cars in the road and stuff, but you know, so there's only so much you can do to protect them. But yeah, I would say if you know it's, you know, lawn mowing day and you're the mowing guy coming any minute, you see him, yeah, sure, move him somewhere where hopefully he won't get mowed or run over. But anyway, thanks for bringing the question to the net. Let's just stop and see if there's any further check-ins here quick, and then we'll roll back through the list. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Looking for any further check-ins, please call now. Alright, no further check-ins recognized this time. I think unless someone has some other topic they want to bring up, we'll make this our final round. So we're going to roll to the top of the list at KD2 TQS. Ken.
Question for Steve. Heard him tell the story about his antenna mount earlier in the week, and I just keep having this question. I don't have all the information.
Okay, Bomber.
Is that what they mean when they refer to signal propagation issues? Back to Net.
Very nice, very nice. And I'll throw that question right over to Steve to answer before we continue down the list.
Oh boy, this one's loaded 15 different ways. Yeah, I think this Ken probably would have been like a cross-species propagation type of situation. Somebody tells me if it had been successful,
what's up, Jake?
Given the heat that we have, whatever the offspring would have resulted, definitely would have been highly combustible.
Alright, thank you very much for your answer. We'll roll on down to Jim, K2BHM.
Thanks, CJ, K2BHM. Well, as far as Steve's question about turtles is concerned, I had very little experience with that other than finding one in the middle of the road one day when going someplace with a friend.
Wow,
and we stopped, and he very carefully tried to escort it off to the side of the road to safety. It was not happy. It tried to snap at him and so forth and so on, but he was careful and managed to make it happen. And I think things were happy after that. And the only other experience is back when I was a kid, my sister was cutting a lawn, and it was the old-style reel-type lawnmowers. She had a whole bunch of blades that would rotate around against a stationary blade and shear the grass off. And as she's going around the front yard, this little hop toad hopped in front of her. And she wound up with fillet of hop toad all over her feet.
Aww.
And after that, it was my shot to the lawn. K2BHM.
Oh man, I'll bet she felt horrible. Yeah, I hate seeing something go under the mower deck last minute. And I imagine that's even worse with those old mowers. I know the type you're talking about, and it would spit out salami onto your feet. Alright, well, let's roll on down to KD2 MQE, David.
MQE, I didn't need that hop toad story, Jim. Thank you for that. But I have a question about turtles. Like, I'm just really happy to live in an area where if you see a line of cars in the middle of nowhere, just lined up and stopped in the middle of the road, there's probably a turtle in front of it, and everybody knows that. So that's normally that's a great thing. But I was on like a well-traveled kind of road where there's a lot of tourists, the 375 between 28 and Woodstock, that the road that goes up to Woodstock, and we were in that kind of a line of cars, and there was this giant turtle crossing that road, and most of us were on board with letting it just take its time and get to where it was going across that road. It's only a 2-lane road, but some people were getting pissed about it because they probably didn't understand what was happening, and we were thinking about trying to pick it up and get it, where in the same direction. And I might have missed what Steve was talking about, but it was an old turtle. It was probably like a foot circumference at least, big. And so I was wondering how far back, if you can grab it and pick it up, how far back can it bite you if it gets pissed about doing that? and we ended up doing it with a stick, and that was okay. But still, a question about turtles would be really be helpful if people know how to answer that. That's it for me. Thanks.
KD2 and net control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. David, in answer to your question, you can usually pick them up by anything halfway back on the shell. You could, if it's a big turtle like that, you could grab both hands on the shell. But yeah, you definitely want to be careful. Some turtles are not so bad, but snapping turtles, for example, have a tremendous crushing force, and they also have a locking jaw. So if they lock on and decide they don't want to let go, you're literally going to have to surgically remove that from your finger. So you do have to be careful. Usually with any big snappers like that, I try not to lift them or move them around without any sort of an implement. Often I'll grab a shovel and I can pick them up, scoop them up by the shell with a shovel without getting in range, and then move them to a bucket or a box or something like that to shift them somewhere. If I don't have any of that options available, usually I will go by the tail and I'll skid them backwards to wherever I want to put them, which seems like rough, but I'd rather do that than have them get hit by a car, run over by a mower, that kind of thing. So that's my 2 cents on that, and I'll put it back to you for further questions or comment.
And QE doesn't further things.
Gotcha. Comment, go ahead. Punch it in your face.
Sometimes the turtles, even snappers and box turtles, will have a spur on the back of their front claw. So if you pick them up, they can actually do an elbow strike into your hand, bringing those legs back and have that. So that's something you want to be aware of. So you do have to be careful to get the right spot, not right up behind the front legs, like you say, the middle, but make sure that you're far enough away from that spike if they have it.
Thank you for weighing in on that, Ken. And yes, that's true. And I've been scratched by rear claws before. Never too badly by those, but I imagine on a bigger turtle that could probably mess you up pretty good and put quite a gash in you. So excellent additional word of caution. All right, let's roll on down to Steve, K2GOG.
Glad I was able to spare, no pun intended actually, off that last go around for some further turtle conversation. Yeah, I would probably second the motion, although I've never had to move a snapping turtle. The one that I saw last year was plenty big, and from everything that I've read, trying to grab it and move it, you have all sorts of different issues that could arise with it, either reaching its neck, which goes back a lot longer than people might think, to grab
maybe
you, or get kicked with spurs on its feet. Definitely not something that you want to experience, I'm sure. But there you go. Yeah, turtle power over here in Poughkeepsie. It's fun having this pond in my backyard because it just seems like such an interesting ecosystem to see this unfold between bats, turtles, deer, geese, toads, frogs. I haven't seen any snakes, but I'm sure they're around here. I just get the feeling that it's a nice little ecosystem. If anything came in and disrupted it, everything else would potentially die off. So it's nice to see that, and also know that it's just this nice little safe place that, idiotic humans won't ideally come into contact with it. So it's fun to see that. Anyway, with that, I'll send it back over to you, TJ, since I know you're looking to close it out on this round. So I'll say 73 to you, and I'll listen through as we go through the rest of the list. Back to you, TJ.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Steve, and I appreciate your comments and participation. And thank you to everyone who participated this evening. I think we're just going to wrap this up. I think we've kind of run out of things to talk about for the evening, and I've got some other farm-related chores that I got to carry on with here, among other things. So thank you to everyone who joined the net. This is KD2 Net Control. Lose my train of thought. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. This has been a session of the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net, sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. If you want to know more about our club, you can visit our website at www.omarcclub.org. That's whiskey, 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 dot Oscar, Mike, Alpha, Romeo, Charlie, Charlie, Lima, Uniform, Bravo, dot Oscar, Romeo, Golf. Thanks to everyone who participated. This is K2IN saying 7-3 and inviting you to join us again next Sunday at 9 p.m. for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. A few announcements. We have a few other nets here on this repeater. The 8:35 a.m. net, which is an informal net run by AC2UQ. And then we have the 6:30 p.m. net, which is the daily net. That's run by Rotating Net Controls. At 6:30 p.m. that's slightly more formal than the morning one. And then on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. K2JLV runs the Thursday night net, and that is a much more technically oriented net regarding amateur radio, computers, and so many other technical related details and topics. So I hope you join us for those nets as well. Thanks to everyone who participated. This is K2IN saying 7-3. Inviting you to join us again next week or tomorrow or whenever the next net is. And appreciate your participation. This repeater is back under regular amateur use and the net is officially closed. KD2IN. I will be clear. Thank you guys.
Thanks, CJ. Good, both nets. KGBHM.
Now I know I've been missing some chatter over here. You guys have been a chatty lot and I haven't been able to keep up. Turtle power. Shoe turtle on 4 corners grip, nobody releasing woods. Yeah, drop cloth, that's the way to do it, BLB. Yeah. Turtle theme. Cha-cha. Your answering machine had that? Wow. Turtle condom. Good lord. Sing it, record it, and play it in the MeWe chat. Yeah, I agree. Therapy, cha-cha, therapy. And news wars, we're turtle protection today. But you guys are having a lot more fun in the chat than I was doing the radio stream. So we got a few more minutes here before the paranormal portal starts up. If anybody wants to chat about anything in particular, or make any comments, or ask questions, or what have ye. And of course YouTube is still showing my video is frozen. I hope that's not the case, but seem to go through this in the live dashboard quite frequently. Water collection tips, as in rainwater. Video not frozen, working great. Okay, that's good. I'm tempted to refresh this page, but I don't want to screw up the stream. I mean, the easiest way to do that is catch your your gutter water off your roofs and go into barrels. The biggest trick is finding the storage space, the storage tanks. I found Craigslist is an easy way to get tanks less expensive than other sources. I would go right into like a 275 gallon tote if you can get one. You can get plastic septic tanks like in the several thousand gallon range. Those are awesome. And you can buy regular water tanks, but I don't know how big a scale you're looking to do. You're looking just to collect water for your garden, or are you looking to collect water for something bigger than that? Okay, Cha-Cha. Garden. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I would do like 55 gallon barrels or something like that. It's easiest. The big thing you're going to do is make sure that those are yeah, I was going to say Green Tree Project did this, but on a much larger scale. But definitely check out their rainwater collection tanks and their rainwater collection cistern, or whatever they're calling it. But they did a huge in-ground tank like that as well. So, I mean, you could go to any scale you want, but those guys have great tips and examples on that, and they probably are the people to go to on rainwater collection. But I would just, I would catch gutters, put barrels under your downspouts, make sure that, make sure you have a flush set up. There's a way to flush out, you set up your plumbing so that your first flow of water flushes out dust, dirt, pollen, etc., and then you capture clean water. But if you're just using it for the garden, it also doesn't matter. So, yeah, and Craigslist is a good place for last-minute companionships at a budget, according to Cha-Cha. But it's also a good place to find water tanks and that kind of stuff. You're welcome, Adam. Or Jake, I don't know which that is. You guys keep switching back and forth, I think. But yeah, definitely check out the Green Dream Project. Those guys have a ton of excellent information on it. And Geeky's doing it too, that's right, yeah. He's got, you have an IBC too. I didn't realize you have an IBC and a 55 for a small garden. That's the thing, that's what I was saying. Geeky said he could use another tote. Of course, he's in a very hot climate in Florida. But yeah, it's amazing how much water you go through and how fast you go through it. Even the ram pump, when we get down to dry season like this, I mean, I can clear out what that thing can produce in a day on an irrigation cycle like nothing. But hopefully all that stuff will help you. Jake, it is Jake, okay. Oh, so you guys are talking in French. French is one I don't know. I'll have to refer to Bomber on it. I know no French. I know some Spanish, some German. And neither of those very well either, so. I'm proficient in English. 96 by 101. Oh, for that new plot that you guys are doing. Oh. You better look into some big water supply. Are there any streams or ponds or lakes or anything nearby there that you could pump irrigation water from? Because if you're not going to do that, you're going to need to bring in a tremendous amount of mulch to retain moisture. That's a lot of area. 96 by 101. You guys got ambitious. That's 9,600 square feet. You're just shy of 10,000 square feet. That's about a excuse me. That's about a quarter of an acre. Bring your big boy tanks, I would say. Yeah, pump would save the back, and really, in order to really irrigate well, you got to do a deep soaking to get in there. No water source. Yeah. Well, you're going to have to manage with mulch and good soil biology and that kind of thing. It'll make you a better farmer, but you might lose some crops in the learning process. Although you guys seem to be pretty proficient in a lot of this stuff. Your garden's doing awesome, by the way. It looks fantastic. I saw your video earlier today. And for people who don't know, you should check out Blue Line Bigfoot. These guys are awesome. Awesome channel. Jake and Adam are lots of fun. Always a laugh and a rip. But yeah, gravity helps for sure. 55 times 8 equals 440 pounds. Yeah, exactly. And if you're putting any of that kind of stuff up on a tower, boy, you better be prepared to support that. And not only support that weight, but also resist wind load in strong storms, so you don't have that kind of weight get pushed by the wind and then start leaning over and come down on top of you or somebody else or something you don't want broken. So yeah, water's 8 pounds to the gallon, 8.33 pounds to the gallon at 59 degrees Celsius. Or Fahrenheit? I can't remember. That 3/8 adds up too. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You know it if you got to carry it. Cheers. Adds up in weight and adds up in BTUs also if you're looking at storing BTUs in water and using water for heat or cold or whatever you're trying to, whatever temperature you're trying to store. Because it's at 8.33 pounds to the gallon, you're talking 8.33 BTUs per gallon per 1 degree Fahrenheit, raise or lower. Salante. I wish I had a beer here, actually. That would taste good right about now. Celsius or Fahrenheit, which one? I don't know, Cha-Cha. Go look it up. The point is, it's about 8.33 pounds to the gallon. And honestly, it doesn't change a significant decimal value to make it worth looking up. From 59 Fahrenheit to 59 Celsius. It's probably 59 Fahrenheit, because 59 Celsius is pretty hot. Alright, well, so for those of you who don't know about the Paranormal Portal, you should go check out the Paranormal Portal. That stream will be coming up shortly. Hopefully Geeky will come in and throw down a link for us to that. I think everybody here already knows Paranormal Portal, so this kind of feels silly, but I guess there's other people who may watch this later, and if you're not familiar with the Paranormal Portal, you should go check it out. That's run by Brent Thomas. Investigates all sort of paranormal stuff, and I've been on there as a guest a couple times regarding nutrition and water, and just an excellent show and an excellent community of people around it. Other channels you should check out, Blue Line Bigfoot, Geeky Gardens, and if there's anybody else I'm missing here in the chat, please speak up. Anyway, yeah, so check those out. Also, look it up, he says. Like your dad. Uh-oh, here we go again. I knew it. I knew we were going here. Alright. I will see you guys over in the Paranormal Portal. Thanks everybody for coming in. Have a great evening. We will see you over in the portal.